Okay, now it's time to have a little fun, and we welcome back to In the Dugout, Pratik Chougule. Pratik, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Star Spangled Gamblers, we take a look at the betting markets. While most of us are inundated with polling information, the betting markets often provide a different view on odds or likelihood of events happening or not happening. We'll get into that just a second, but Pratik, first, we got congratulations are in order. There's a new member to your family.
Yep, my son, our first child, was born on Monday. So things are crazy all over the place, but we're very excited.
That is outstanding. That's Monday, July 10th. So that's a birthday we got to keep in mind. All right, Pratik, congratulations. You look like you're even getting some rest. So that's good for you. Okay, so where are we going first? All right, so we're talking about the cocaine situation in the White House. Who left it there? It's a mystery, right? A lot of people have their opinions. What do the betting markets say, Pratik?
Well, I think here, let's start with the press coverage and so forth. It seems like the FBI so far has no idea, and there hasn't really been a good credible theory as to who did it. Now, that is in very sharp contrast to what bettors are saying. They are convinced that the front runner by far is Hunter Biden. You can see here on the...
what does minus 525 mean?
Okay, so this is what we're looking at here is not a prediction market, it's a sports book. So these are the odds that are assigned to it by Bet Online, by a bookie, essentially, but it's obviously based on what people are betting money on and how the odds have moved. So as the story has continued, the odds that it's Hunter Biden have gone higher and higher. Negative 525 translates as a percentage into 80-something%. So the bettors are very confident that if it's found, and it's a big if, very likely we will not find out who owns the cocaine in the White House.
I mean, and if you bet minus 520, if you bet $1, you might only get $1.40 back, right? When you see a negative odd, you're going to get less than 100% of your term. When you see something like whoever this Edward Lee is plus 1,600, you're likely to get, if you bet $1, what are you going to get back? 16 times or 160 times your bet?
Yeah. So now the interesting thing, in addition to the fact that traders are convinced it's Hunter Biden, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, way down, there's
Joe Biden.
Which I have to say, like, I don't think it's Joe or Jill Biden, but the point is, right, I mean, there aren't all that many people that can get cocaine in the White House and get away with it. So
yeah, there's some funny names on there. Now, remember, folks, you can actually bet on this. If you go to starspangledgamblers.com, there's instructions there. You could, I mean, Pratik, this is what you do. You bet on this stuff and you make money on this, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I and my colleagues bet our own money, and there are gamblers all over the world, just like with sports betting and so forth, who bet money on politics. And there are these sports books now that are increasingly offering political lines as well.
All right, very cool. All right, so again, starspangledgamblers.com. All right, the next of the three we're going to cover today is RFK Jr. Now, look, he's causing a stir. Now, I think it's interesting here with this is, we've seen the polling on him anywhere from 12% to the low 20s, but the betting markets, in fact, let me see. Let me bring up here. Okay, here are the betting markets on that. I'm looking at a 90-day view. Here's RFK Jr. He's up to 12% when he started and announced back in June last year, or earlier. No, this is when? This is as of June. No, just last month he was 10 cents. So his odds have gone up a little. You can see Biden's odds have gone down a little since April, and Gavin Newsom's odds have gone up to 20 cents from 10 cents. So his is double. What do you see here, Pratik?
Okay, so the way we normally talk about this is we compare and contrast the polling and the betting markets. I think this RFK market price is very interesting because this is one of these examples where I think the polling and the betting markets are actually somewhat in line. It's really expert opinion and conventional wisdom that is the outlier here. So if you watch the mainstream news and so forth, they think that Biden is a surefire lock, more or less, to be the nominee, and that RFK Jr., his candidacy, is something of a meme, something that's a joke. Now, if you look at both the betting markets and the polling, he's not actually doing all that bad. He's polling, RFK this is polling double digits, and that is reflected in the markets where they give him a fairly high chance of getting the nomination, 12%. So we'll have to see. I mean, my own view is that this actually may be a case where the expert opinion is correct. I think Biden is underpriced in the markets. I don't think RFK Jr. really has a 12% chance of getting the nomination, but it is interesting that the betting is giving him this high of a probability.
And I would think it's normal. He will probably poll higher, I would guess, as it is by a few points. You can see he's polling 17%. We've heard some polls at 20 or so. Sure, he's going to get some votes, but is he actually going to win the nomination? That's a whole nother question, completely separate from whether or not he'll get votes. So I think in this case, the fact that his betting odds are a little bit lower than his polling makes perfect sense to me. Not a lot lower, but a little lower.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth talking about why it is that the betting markets put RFK Jr. so high. And I think there are two big reasons. I think the first is that the markets are quite skeptical that Biden will, at the end of the day, be the Democratic nominee. And so it's not only RFK Jr. who is trading highly, it's also Gavin Newsom.
Biden, right.
Yeah. But the other factor here too is that he is polling pretty well in the early state of New Hampshire. He's generating a lot of bipartisan buzz, and plus he has the Kennedy name, which still matters to older Democratic voters. So he could catch fire.
Now, you could bet for Biden or for Kennedy. Can you bet? Can you can you bet against them? Can you use those same odds to say this won't happen?
Yeah, so if you can go maybe get out of the graph format and just show the actual market with there it is. So you can see, like, you can buy the yes, or if you click on the right column,
over here.
Yeah, the other price.
Oh, the 33 cents. Oh, I see. Yeah.
So that's
I think I have to be logged in to get there, but okay. So it's 33 cents that Biden won't be the nominee. Kennedy, it's 87 cents. They don't always add up to 100, right? But they're close, right?
Yeah, look, I'll tell you how I'm trading this. My view is different from the markets here. I think Biden is a good buy at 68%. I think that he's not a lock, but I think that it's pretty hard to beat an incumbent president. I also think if you're looking,
I don't think he's going to be the nominee. See, I should log in. I'm going to take that 33 cent. I'm going to take that 33 cent. That means if I bet $33, right, I'd get 100 back if I won, basically, right?
Yeah, that's right. So the other point I was going to make is if you want to hedge in this market, see, I think the way to hedge here is actually to buy Kamala Harris. If you look at the number there, it's 6%. I just figure if something happens to Biden, even though she's very unpopular, I would think the VP is at a bit of a structural advantage compared to an outsider like Kennedy or even Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, at 6 cents. Yeah, so we bet $6. You'd win 100. That's pretty good odds. Yeah. Okay, very good. That's interesting. All right, let's go to our third and final category we'll cover today. And this is an interesting one. Not most people think about this, but apparently there's some pushback to ban political gambling. I mean, in sports we had the debate, should we allow, sports apps, should that be legal or not? Tell us first what the debate is, and then we'll look at the odds on that.
Okay, so if you followed our show and our segment, basically, you might have seen that whether or not you actually gamble on politics, there's real value here just to looking at betting as one way of talking about the news. Now, this has been very controversial in the American context, which is different from the UK, where it's a free-for-all. You can kind of bet on politics without too much regulation. Now, the only reason why there are even a few of these betting markets available in the US is because there's the CFTC, this is a federal agency, has basically allowed a small, limited amount of betting just for academic and research purposes. And this has been going on for really since the early 90s. Now, since President Biden came in, there has been a move by this administration to crack down even on the limited amount of political betting. So there, as you'll pull up, I think there's a market here that will look at the question of whether or not the Biden administration's push to crack down on political betting will survive or not. But this issue is being litigated in the courts right now, and also there's a review going on at the CFTC at the federal level.
What are the numbers saying? I'm not sure I understand how to read these here.
Okay, so let's start with the question, if you go up. So really the biggest legal market in America to bet on politics is a site called PredictIt. That's the site that you just had up looking at the Democratic nominee odds. Now, the reason PredictIt is able to offer this is because they got what is called a no action letter by the government. So basically what the government is saying to them, we're not going to tell you you're illegal, but we're not going to prosecute you because there's academic value. This has been the case since 2014, but the Biden administration is trying to move against PredictIt. So there's a case going on in the courts right now. Now, what this
the detail on that. All right, just tell us what the odds are. So, because we only got about a minute left. So,
Okay.
so are we? The question is, will political betting still be around in 2024? What do the numbers say?
Okay, so there's limited liquidity in this market, but basically what the traders are saying is that they are very optimistic that the court is going to rule in favor of PredictIt against the Biden administration and the CFTC and allow the site to continue.
96 cents, 96% likelihood.
88% is what they're saying.
Oh, up here. Oh, yeah, 88 up here. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's now in front of the federal courts. We'll find out in the next couple of weeks if that is the case.
Have those numbers moved in recent weeks, or has that pretty much been where it's been?
They've gone up over the past few weeks, so the trend line is looking good. I'll just say in closing, very briefly.
That means you'll be able to continue your work at Star Spangled Gamblers.
Yes, and if you want political gambling to continue, the CFTC right now, until the end of the month, is accepting public comments on this issue. So if you go on the CFTC website, you can write a comment to them saying this is important, and that might influence the debate a little bit.
Is starspangledgamblers.com. You can act just like sports betting. You can do political betting. He'll show you how. They'll link you to the places where you can go actually bet, set up your account, set up your funds, and if you're as good as Pratik, you can make some good money at it. So Pratik Chougule, thank you for being our guest, and congratulations again, and good luck with your new baby boy.
Thank you.
All right. And folks, thank you again for tuning in here on In the Dugout. We're trying to give you a variety of political angles here, and we really enjoy this Star Spangled Gamblers.